Hey, thanks, Danai. It's great to be with you and everybody here. Been to the Navigator Forum 10, 12 times over my 15 years here with FOSS, and I have a German father and Italian mother, and I also think I'm now 50% Greek. So, hey, want to say congratulations to you and your entire family and the entire crew there at Navigator. It's really a joy to be a part of not only your family, but the Greek shipping family. It's really fantastic. So I will jump in here and share a screen. Okay. All right. Can you see that?
Yes, we're seeing it.
Okay, very good. So FOSS Maritime is a 131-year-old towage company located, headquartered in Seattle, Washington. There you go. We have operations in Alaska, Hawaii, and on the U.S. West Coast from Washington, Oregon, and California. If you're a Greek ship owner and you're on this call and you've had a ship hit the U.S. West Coast, there's a 90% chance that you've worked with FOSS Maritime. So thanks to our good partners at Navigator for that. I'm going to just jump right into the COVID issue. For us, we've been very, very fortunate that we have not had a massive spread of COVID amongst the crew at FOSS. We have had isolated cases of crew members, and they have, fortunately for the operation and for our customers, and unfortunately for them, have taken place away from being on the tugs. And so we've been able to isolate those crew members. We've had no fatalities. We've had no hospitalizations, but we've had a few isolated cases over the past year of our crew. Again, getting COVID away from the operation. As probably most of our fraternity brothers on the towage side have experienced, we have had a massive surge the last 7 months of container ship activity to the U.S. West Coast. It has been nothing but crushing to the operations and to the infrastructure to dock so many container ships. I guess there's all this bent up consumerism from people being stuck in their houses for a year. And you may have heard we do have a new president. The previous gentleman's name escapes me, but the new president has done a very good job in ensuring that our COVID vaccinations are way ahead of the curve from many of the other industrialized countries, and we are, I think, vaccinating between 2 and 4 million people a day, and it's really gaining a lot of momentum in the economy here. So from a COVID perspective, we've adjusted. Oil is down, containers are up, grain is up, but we're seeing starting that people are flying and people are driving, and we're starting to see more tankers and more activity that was really suppressed during the height of COVID, and so we're starting to see some activities come back. Okay. I was remiss in speaking first and foremost about safety. Safety is the most important thing that we do. We lead every meeting with a safety moment, and we also have a new director of marine assurance, and Paul Hendricks, who's our dedicated person ashore, and you can take great comfort in the fact that this is the most important thing we do when we handle our customer ships. So I want to touch on two things real quick. FOSS Maritime is part of a company, the largest privately held company in the state of Washington, called Saltchuk. As you know, state of Washington has some very large companies, and Microsoft and Amazon and Starbucks and Boeing and companies like that. But as far as the largest privately held company in the state of Washington, Saltchuk is the largest. We are in in petroleum distribution. We have 2 deep sea services. Tropical shipping has 60 ships that goes throughout the Caribbean, and Tote Maritime, who built the first Jones Act LNG ship, runs from Florida to Puerto Rico and from Tacoma up to Anchorage. And also FOSS Maritime worked with Tote Maritime to build the first ever US flagged LNG bunker barge, the Clean Jacksonville, which operates in Jacksonville, Florida. We have 6,000 employees and did $3.1 billion in sales in 2020. For this group, I think the most biggest news for us over the past year was the fact that we bought a company called Starlight. Some people may be familiar with the old Harley Marine. Harley Marine was rebranded to a company called Centerline. And last year we arranged a service swap with Centerline, where they purchased and now operate our 6 bunker barges in California. And we purchased and operate as a brand called Starlight in California, 8 new tugs from Centerline under the brand of Starlight. So that we have 5 tugboat companies within the family. Navigator works with FOSS, but we also have access to the tugs from AmNav, which operates in California, and Starlight, which operates in California. Cook Inlet Tug and Barge operates in Alaska, and Young Brothers operates throughout the Hawaiian Islands and Hawaii. And then we should have a Navigator foreign in Hawaii, Danai. What do you think? Next time?
No problem at all for me. I mean, after this 1 year COVID, I think Hawaii is more than great to the ears of everybody.
Very good. Here's our service footprint. We are the largest tugboat company on the West Coast with operations.
The only thing that I just wanted, sorry to interrupt you, is that we are not seeing change of the slides. I don't know if you're changing, but we don't see any change. I did not want to interrupt you before. Now we see. Now it's okay. Now
my bad. All right, I'm operating on 2 screens, so I apologize for that. So this is our service footprint on the West Coast, from Alaska to Washington, Oregon, California, and Hawaii. Okay. So as I mentioned, tugs, we have 65 tugboats operating in those regions. We have built 4 brand new 90-ton tugboats to operate in California. They're Tier 4 to comply with California emissions. My apologies to the rest of the group here. Well, but as an environmentalist, we all are interested in clean air, but the California leads the way for the rest of the world in terms of regulation. And so Tier 4 tugs and emissions and NOx and SOx reduction are coming everybody's way, and it all initiates in California. I will say that one of the questions was asked about biodiesel. We are starting to fuel tugs with biodiesel. As you mentioned, we're going to fill our, we're going to take some biodiesel on our first tug this week. So the future of biodiesel, we're also working on a hydrogen project with a company in San Francisco Bay to a hydrogen fuel cell to propel a brand new tug there. And again, LNG, our sister company, is now ready to fuel the tote ships that run from Tacoma to Alaska with LNG. So in terms of the future of fuel, we are, our company and our parent company is in the forefront of that in the United States. We just built 4 brand new tugboats, all Tier 4. As you're familiar with the Jones Act, they have to be built in America with American steel and operated by American mariners. So they generally run 4 times the cost of what my fraternity brothers pay to operate their tugs, or I should say build their tugs in their respective regions. But again, we're very proud of the fleet, and we have to build new tugs with new engines in order to comply with the ongoing emissions requirements. And then one final thing I want to share with this group before we get into market trends is we've seen a preponderance over the last year and a half of Greek ship owners requiring rescue tows. Fortunately, nothing as violent as the thing you see on the screen here, but there have been a lot of fuel of breakdowns or of requirements for escorts and for a response to either dead ships or ships that the Coast Guard deems that need to have an emergency response. We are a good choice, and our partnership with Navigator works that in the middle of the night, we are available to respond to whatever the requirement is put by the Coast Guard or by the ship owner to respond to an escort requirement or a response to a dead ship tow or an offshore a vessel that has lost propulsion. We can respond to that, and there's been just a preponderance of that over the last, again, 18 months. For some reason, there's been many of these activities, and by working with us, you work with the right company to respond to that. We have the capable tugs. And then finally, we have a 24-hour emergency response center that not only manages the fleet of FOSS, but all of our sister company vessels, Tote, Tropical, and all the other tug companies that is manned 24 hours a day. And that's available through our friends at Navigator. So in terms of market trends, about 9 years ago, our president challenged one of our key business development people with the question of what happens if oil goes away. And we got in front of the wind vertical in terms of being a maritime supplier to offshore wind. And we started that journey 9 years ago. And if people are starting that journey now, it's way too late. So if you read Tradewinds or read any other of the publications, about 3 weeks ago, there was a press release that came out that FOSS Maritime partnered with DEME Offshore to become the maritime services provider to the Vineyard Wind Project in New York. That's on the East Coast. We sit on the West Coast, but our partnership and our response to their requirements have put us in a position to be a part of the future of maritime requirements, which is going to be this, I would say, into the trillions of dollars over the years that are the upcoming years of this offshore wind requirement that is going on in America. It's going to start on the East Coast, but hopefully it's made to the West Coast. And we are the first maritime company to be listed as a key service provider to that project. So we're very, very proud of that. That is our, in terms of any expansion for FOSS, we have smart owners who, again, did $3 billion in sales last year. So they're always looking for opportunities to expand. There's, and during COVID, there's a lot of companies that were hurt by that downturn in the economy. So our owners always have investments to make in companies that require recapitalization. So we're not going to announce any expansion today, but we do see ourselves continue to look for opportunities in other parts of the country and other parts of the world. And but this wind project for us is a big step forward, and we're very excited about where that's going to take. That's the future of this company. But not in the meantime, but the foundation of our business is ship assistant tanker escort business on the West Coast. And another big part of our business is doing project tows to Alaska, Hawaii, and the Pacific Theater. So we're a very diverse company that do a lot of different things. We actually have 15 different services that we offer between line handling, and we have terminals and pilot boats, and do all sorts of different things. But the foundation of our business is the business we share with Navigator, and then the future of our business is wind. So Tanai, I'll send it back to you.